The morning was supposed to be the most important day of his life. A grey sky hung over the city with the kind of heaviness that almost whispered promises of change. Michael, a single father in his late 30s, woke up with a pounding heart and trembling hands. He had been waiting for this moment for months. The big interview that could finally lift him and his little daughter Emma out of the suffocating cycle of unpaid bills, late rent notices and quiet nights filled with whispered prayers. Every shirt he owned was worn out, every pair of shoes scuffed. Yet today he had carefully ironed his only decent suit, hoping it would carry him through. His little girl, still half asleep, had hugged him before school with tiny arms that carried the weight of his world. "Good luck, Daddy," she had murmured. He kissed her forehead and promised he would do everything to make her proud. He had no idea that before the day ended, life would test him in a way he could never have imagined. If you believe in Moonlight, second chances, and stories that remind us of the goodness hidden in the world, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Moonlight Stories. Your support keeps these powerful true to life tales alive for more hearts to hear. As he rushed down the crowded city streets, clutching the folder of his resume close to his chest, Michael kept rehearsing his answers in his head. He imagined shaking hands firmly, speaking with confidence, and finally hearing the words, "You're hired." This job meant stability, a roof without leaks, food without rationing, and school shoes that didn't need to be patched with glue. He reached the bus stop early, his pulse racing with both nerves and hope. But then, something happened. The kind of moment that sneaks into ordinary life and changes everything. A few feet away near the crosswalk, an elderly woman stumbled. At first, people glanced and turned away, the way a busy city often teaches people to ignore. But Michael's eyes froze. She tried to steady herself, but her shopping bag split open, scattering apples and bread onto the wet pavement. Then she collapsed, clutching her chest in silent agony. For a heartbeat, Michael hesitated, the weight of his decision crushing him. He could pretend he hadn't seen it, board the bus, and chase his one chance. Or he could throw everything aside for a stranger whose name he didn't even know. His chest tightened, and in that instant, he remembered the little voice of his daughter saying,
"Be kind, Daddy."
Without another thought, Michael dropped his folder, ran to her side, and knelt on the cold ground. The minutes that followed blurred into chaos. He called for help, pressed his jacket under her head, and begged passing drivers to stop. His hands trembled as he tried to keep her conscious, whispering that everything would be okay. The bus he was supposed to take roared past him, disappearing down the street along with the chance of reaching his interview on time. A part of him screamed in despair, but he kept holding her hand, watching the fear in her eyes soften slightly because he was there. By the time the ambulance arrived, his suit was ruined, his resume papers soaked from the rain, and his hope for the interview already lost. Yet he stayed until she was safely carried inside, giving the paramedics his contact information in case her family needed anything. He didn't even ask her name. When the chaos settled, Michael stood alone on the sidewalk, the folder of his dreams crumpled in his hands. Tears stung his eyes, not just from failure, but from the weight of sacrifice. He had done the right thing, but right things didn't pay rent. Right things didn't buy Emma's school books. He wandered the streets aimlessly, the ticking of his watch mocking him, each passing second a reminder of the door that had closed forever. By the time he reached home, his heart was heavy with defeat. His daughter looked at him with wide, innocent eyes, asking how the interview went. He forced a smile, brushing her hair back, and whispered, "Daddy did his best." But deep inside, despair gnawed at him like a silent storm. Hours later, as dusk painted the sky in shades of fire and sorrow, there was a knock at the door. Michael opened it hesitantly, only to see the very woman he had helped standing before him, dressed now with elegance and strength. He froze in shock, unable to believe she had found him. Her eyes were filled with gratitude, but also with a knowing depth that suggested this encounter was not mere chance. She explained that she was not just a stranger, not just someone whose life he had saved. She was the CEO of the very company where he was supposed to interview that morning. His heart nearly stopped. Every regret, every fear, Every drop of sadness that had drowned him since that morning suddenly seemed to scatter into the wind. She told him she had been watching him, even in her moments of weakness, and what she saw was character no Same could capture. His sacrifice, his willingness to choose humanity over ambition, had spoken louder than any polished suit or rehearsed answer ever could. She looked at him, tears brimming in her eyes, and told him that if her company needed anyone, it needed a man like him. Michael stood frozen, overwhelmed, as she extended her hand with an offer that would not only secure his future but honor his integrity. In that single moment, his life shifted from despair to hope, from struggle to promise. The days that followed became a testament to the quiet truth that kindness has power. Michael stepped into a role he had once only dreamed of, carrying with him the lessons of sacrifice and love. His daughter, beaming with pride, told her friends how her daddy was a hero. He never boasted, never spoke of what he had given up. But every night, as he tucked Emma into bed, he knew that the path he had chosen was the one worth walking. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to Moonlight Stories. Every click, every word of encouragement helps us bring more real, life-changing stories to the world. And before we end, here's a special request. Comment below with the words, "Kindness never goes unnoticed," if you believe that one selfless act can change not just one life, but many.